On February 24th, 1978, five men from Yuba City, California, Jack Madruga, 30, Ted Wyer, 32, Bill Sterling, 29, Jack Hewitt, 24, and Gary Mathias, 25, attended a basketball game at California State University, Chico. They were avid basketball fans and had plans to play in a Special Olympics basketball tournament the next day. The group was close-knit, and each of the men had mild intellectual disabilities or psychiatric conditions. Madruga and Sterling were high-functioning, but had developmental delays. Hewitt had a slight learning disability. Wyer had a mental disability, though he lived a relatively independent life. Gary Mathias had schizophrenia but was being successfully treated and was functioning well in society. After the game, they stopped at a convenience store to buy snacks, and then set off in Madruga's 1969 Mercury Montego car for what should have been a routine trip home. However, none of the men returned home that night. The search begins. When the men didn't come back, their families reported them missing. A large-scale search ensued. A few days later, the group's car was found abandoned in a remote, snowy area on a mountain road near Plumas National Forest, far off their intended route home. What was puzzling, the car was in good working condition, and the keys were gone, but it was unlocked. There was no apparent reason for them to leave the vehicle. It was found in an area they had no known reason to visit, and it was 70 miles from Chico, where the basketball game had been. Despite the snow, the car was not stuck, and Madruga, who drove, was an excellent driver. It seemed highly unlikely that he would have driven up such a remote mountain road, especially since they were expected home early for their tournament. The gruesome discovery. Months passed without any trace of the men until June 4th, 1978, nearly 4 months after their disappearance, when motorcyclists stumbled upon a U.S. Forest Service trailer, about 19 miles from where the car had been found. Inside the trailer was the emaciated body of Ted Wyer, one of the missing men. He had wrapped himself in several layers of clothing and blankets, but appeared to have starved to death despite a nearby stock of canned food. His beard growth suggested he had survived for around 8 to 13 weeks after the group went missing. Around the trailer, investigators found 3 other bodies. Madruga and Sterling were found several miles from the trailer, likely having died from exposure while attempting to walk to safety. Hewitt's remains were discovered 2 days later, further down the road leading to the trailer. Mathias' body was never found, though his shoes were left in the trailer, leading to speculation that he may have continued on foot without being found. Theories and mysteries. Despite the discovery of the bodies, the case remains shrouded in mystery. Key questions include: why did they drive up the mountain? The group had no known reason to take such a detour. Some believe they may have followed someone or taken a wrong turn, though this seems unlikely given Madruga's familiarity with the area. Why didn't they use the resources in the trailer? The trailer contained food, matches, and a heating system that could have helped them survive. The fact that they didn't make use of all the available supplies has baffled investigators. What happened to Gary Mathias? Mathias had a history of psychiatric issues, but had been stable for 2 years prior. His disappearance adds a layer of uncertainty. Some suggest he may have wandered off to seek help or suffered a mental health episode. Survival decisions. Ted Wyer, who was found in the trailer, had lived for weeks while the others had perished earlier. Why he remained in the trailer, without using the available resources, is another unanswered question. Unresolved to this day, the Yuba County Five case remains unsolved, with theories ranging from mental confusion or delusions due to the cold, to foul play, or even something paranormal. None of the men had a history of criminal activity, and no evidence pointed toward an external threat. The odd nature of their deaths, the remoteness of the location, and the mysterious survival decisions have left investigators and the public perplexed. To this day, it remains one of the most bizarre and unsolved cases in American history.